Hey guys, today I am here to tell you the 10 baby names that I love but will probably not be using. We plan on having at least 2 or 3 more kids, probably 3. So I can't say that I definitely won't use these names, but these are a lot of names that I tried with either kid, either Emerson or Jackson, and John said nope. So unless he changes his mind, these will be baby names that we will not be using. How we pick our kids' names are we give them a first name that we really love, and then we give them a middle name that is a family name. Emerson, I've loved since I was in middle school. I actually had a friend that I had a joke with that I had octuplets, because it was around the time that Octomom, Nadia, whatever her name is, was having her octuplets, and so we had a joke that I had 8 babies, and I picked all of their names, and one of their names was indeed Emerson. Every time I would play Sims, it was Emerson. I don't know where I found the name, I just really loved it, and I still do. And with Emerson, it was between Emerson and Harper. And it was one day I was at work, and it clicked in my head that if I named her Emerson, I could call her Emmy. And to me, that is one of the cutest nicknames ever, so Emerson it was. Rose came from my husband's older sister, who died when she was 16, so that's where we got Emerson Rose. When I was 22 weeks pregnant with Jackson, they told me that it was actually a girl. They said that there was nothing there, that it was a girl. So for about 6 to 7 weeks, I just threw out girl names at John. I threw out a bunch of different names that I thought he would love, and he hated every single one of them. And then finally we came at about 28 or 29 weeks, I want to say, we came to an agreement on the name Rowan. And her middle name would have been Christine, after my grandma, and his older sister Bernadette, her middle name is Christine. So her name would have been Rowan Christine. But we had an ultrasound at 32 weeks, still a girl. Had an ultrasound at 37 weeks in the doctor's office, actually, not at the hospital. And he was like, "We're having a boy, right?" And John and I kind of looked at each other, and we were like, "That's not funny." "How is that funny?" He goes, and we kind of looked at his face, and he was like, so serious. His face was just like, the blood had kind of fallen on his face, and I was like, oh my gosh, he really thinks that this is a boy. So he sent us over to the hospital. Sure enough, it was a boy. At that point, I was 37 weeks and 2 days. So I had just a little less than 3 weeks until he was due. And I told John, I was like, we have to pick a name for this kid. I had already had monogrammed onesies made for Emerson and Rowan. And I didn't know what to do. I was like, I don't know how to pick boys' names. All I've ever picked is girls' names. So the first name that I threw out was Jackson. And John was kind of like on the fence about it. And I was like, well, that's one name we agree on. So that's how Jackson got his name. And his middle name is Robert, which is just John's middle name. Simple as that. So I'm going to go ahead and just start my list. I have 5 boys and 5 girls. I guess since I have a girl first, I'll just start with girl names. The first girl's name that I love but will definitely not be using is Kennedy. The reason that I will not be using the name Kennedy is because my best friend from high school, her younger sister's name is actually Kennedy. So just a little too close for me to want the name. The first boy's name that I love that probably won't be using is Lincoln. I have loved this name since it kind of started trending like a year ago. I love the idea of calling a little boy Link. It reminds me of Hairspray. I think it is so adorable. It's got a cute nickname, it's historical, but Lincoln was actually the third name that I suggested for Jackson, after Jackson being number 1, of course, and John who was just no on Lincoln. He did not like it. I don't know why, if it's just too weird for him. He's not like really into weird names. So Lincoln will probably never be used. The second girl's name on my list is Sawyer. I actually got this name from One Tree Hill, like 6 or 7 years ago. Peyton and Lucas named their daughter Sawyer. and I had never heard of the name before. I was like, this name is adorable. Well, because her name was Peyton Sawyer, so they got it from her last name. So I think that is so cool. I just love it. I think it's nautical, but at the same time, it's just a little too weird for me. I'm not sure that Sawyer Danderian would sound very good. I do know some people that have a daughter named Sawyer, or a son named Sawyer, and their last name goes really well with it, but our last name just doesn't really flow with the name Sawyer. The next boy's name that I love, but will hopefully be using someday, is Easton. This was my first pick for Jackson's name. I wanted Easton so bad. I think that Easton Robert, which would have been his middle name anyways, Easton Robert Danderian sounded so good, and John just said no. I love the idea of calling him E. I don't know that I would ever call him East. Maybe. It is pretty cool. Maybe I call him East. I'm not like a Kim Kardashian trying to call my kid a direction or anything. But as a nickname, I think that East is definitely cute. E is even cuter, so I hope that someday John will allow me to use this name. I put it on my list, but I'm hoping that I use it someday anyways. The next girl's name on my list is Indy. And I got this from the Gardeners. They actually have 4 girls. There's Indy, Esme, Scarlett, and Evie. Indy, I think, is so short and it's cute. And I could see a little Indy running around. I could see an old Indy. Like, I think it's a great name for all stages in their life. One of the main components of a name for John and I is that we have to be able to yell it. Like when we yell Emerson Rose or Jackson Robert, it just sounds good. But when I try Indy, and if I pair it with like any of our family names, it just doesn't sound good. I don't know if it's short or why. It just doesn't sound good, but it just doesn't sound good. And I'm not sure that Indy Danderian would really flow very nicely. But I love it anyways, nonetheless. And Indy Gardner, if you're watching this video, which I'm sure you're not, you are adorable and you make me love that name. My third boy name that I love and definitely will not be using is Jude. The reason that I won't be using this name is because this is actually my father-in-law's middle name. And as I said at the beginning of the video, we pick first names that we love and then they get middle family names. So maybe someday we'll have a son with a middle name Jude. I doubt it, but I just really love it as a first name. I love the shortness of it. I love that you can call him Jay. But at the same time, I love names that can easily be shortened, like Emerson to Emmy and Jackson to Jack or Jax. But Jude, to me, you can't really, like, you could pull the J from it, but that's just kind of like a first letter nickname. It's not actually a nickname to me. So that is another reason why I obviously will not be using it. The next girl's name that I love but will not be using is Savannah. I actually fell in love with this name when I was watching Seventh Heaven years ago when Lucy had her daughter and she named her Savannah, and my eyes lit up. The angels came and they sang down. They're like, you have to name your daughter Savannah someday. But I was a teenager. I'm not even sure if I was a teenager. I think I might have been like in middle school. Actually, I know I was in middle school. And I just thought it was so cute. I'm not like really all for calling her Anna. I'm not like really into that. Sav, maybe Savvy. Savvy might be cute. I'm not like really sure why I wouldn't use it. It's not one of those names that I'm like, I for sure don't like it for this reason, or I for sure don't like it for this reason. But it just doesn't seem, I can't see myself having a daughter and naming her Savannah. I don't know why. I don't think I've never even given this as an option to John. Maybe he likes it, so maybe we will have a daughter named Savannah someday. But for right now, I don't see myself having a daughter named Savannah. The next boy's name on my list is Jensen. I'm not really sure why I like this name. I think it's such a cute name. I could see a little boy running around named Jensen, but I think the problem is I don't know that I could ever see an old man named Jensen. I know that, like, Jensen Ackles, is that his name from Supernatural? And he pulls off his name really well. But at the same time, I just can't picture myself having a son named Jensen. I don't think I could yell Jensen. I just don't think that would work. So that is why I will not be using the name Jensen. And the last girl's name on my list is Marley. Most of the reason that I won't be using the name Marley is because, like I said, our kids' middle names come from family, and my grandpa's middle name is Lee, my sister's middle name is Lee, and so that kind of contradicts the whole having a middle name as family and having as a first name as something that mom and dad love. But I think it is adorable. Someday I may convince myself just kind of to change the rule for that. Maybe my last girl. You never know when you're going to have your last girl, though. Emerson could seriously be my last girl. But I just love the idea of the name Marley, and I would spell it Leigh. I think Leeley is cute, but to me, Leigh is the cutest. I could see a little girl named Marley. I could see somebody graduating high school named Marley. I just think it is so cute. The last boy's name on my list that I love and will most likely not be using is the name Paxton. The problem is where I live, about 40 minutes south, I want to say 40 miles, minutes south, something like that, there is a town named Paxton. So I feel like if I had him and I stayed in this area, people would probably just be like, did your mom and dad get that name from the town Paxton? You know, or if he plays football someday, we do play that town. So I just feel like if I named him Paxton, he played football like John did, they would announce his name during that game and he would just be so embarrassed. So that is the main reason why I don't like this name. Otherwise, I love it. I love the nickname Pax. I could see myself yelling Paxton. I could probably see an old guy named Paxton, maybe not so much, but it would be a name that I think a child could definitely grow with. So maybe someday if we move out of this town, then I would name my kid Paxton. That is it for the 10 baby names that I love and probably won't be using. I will see you guys next time. Bye!